but I'm also here to get real with you. I'm here to validate your rage, your anger, your frustration, your hopelessness, your helplessness, whatever it is you're feeling. But I'm also here to get real with you, both people of color and people that consider themselves white, because we all have something we need to change. And it starts here, in our way of thinking and the mind. What is it that you really want? You really want people to have a change of heart. And rage and anger do not ever instigate a change of heart. You might get what you want, what you think you want. You think you want to be treated better, but the reality is that you want to be seen differently. I feel it. If you're treated better and you're still seen the same, that's not enough. It's not enough. You can go into, like, let's say a phone company. Rage, angry, determined to get your way. You're mad about your bill. They'll hear you, and they'll probably change your bill. But you're already seeing it coming. They're not going to think any differently about you. In fact, they're going to create an identity for you in their mind. They're going to start to typecast you, start to typecast any person that comes in like this, and they're going to turn themselves off emotionally for the next person that comes at them like that. Self-protection. So if you're wanting to find the ultimate solution, then continue watching this video. If you're wanting to feed into what's not a solution, change the channel and subscribe. There's a responsibility here, and that's that we all need to reprogram from both sides. We were all at one point in our spiritual lives both the slave and the slave master. When you go and delve into the depths of the subconscious mind, there always exists the perpetrator and the victim. At some point in space and time, there always exists the person that was murdered and the murderer, the rapist and the person that was raped, the child abuser and the child. There exists in the mind both of those scenarios. Why? It's pure science of the mind. The mind knows no difference between past, present, and future, just as it knows no difference between I am and she is. The mind only knows I am. So when you point your finger and you point at someone as a racist, the mind goes, I am a racist. I know from delving into the depths of my own subconscious mind and hundreds of clients. It's our responsibility to release both being the slave and being the slave master. It's there. I promise you it's there. Because if you feel triggered by one side or the other, you have both. And what happens is when you host these subconscious beliefs about yourself, you will do anything and everything to overcompensate for them in real life. I know because I had it. I was programmed that I was a racist. And I could talk about past lives and experiences where I was both a slave and a slave master. But you wouldn't know it by how I treated people. I would wait 2 minutes to hold a door open for a person of color because I was trying to overcompensate for how I really felt inside. It was almost like, oh, please don't see this part of me that I'm fully ashamed of. But I wasn't aware of it. That's the problem. That's what people of color are talking about. That they feel this racism, even if it's not in the treatment of how they're being treated overtly. We have to be responsible for what's in our subconscious mind, regardless of whether we're acting on it. Because people feel it. If you're programmed, which you are, because we all are on some level, that you're still a slave. You're being a slave, just like George Floyd said in my transmission. You're being a slave to your spouse. You're being a slave to your children. You're being a slave to society, to your boss, to your synagogue, to your church, whatever it is. You have to program yourself as free, regardless of the evidence that's given against you. Then and only then will you experience true freedom, because nobody can give you freedom. Have we not demonstrated that? Once the shackles were free, you weren't free. You have to reprogram your mind. And then even if the shackles come back on, you'll still be free. Same for white people. White people are slaves to society. Everyone of every color is programmed as a slave and a slave master. So I want you to repeat after me, because it has to start with the reprogramming of the mind. Every one of you has this. I release that I'm a racist. I release all of the evidence in all space and time to prove that that's true. I release that I care more about one race than I care about the other. I release that it's wrong to care more about one race than the other. I release that it's wrong to care the same about other races as I do my own. I release the trauma. The drama. I release needing to be right about this. I release the anger. I release the shame. I release the blame. The pointing fingers. I create the possibility that I am equal to all races and that all races are equal to me. And I'm willing to see myself as equal to all races, and I'm willing to see all races as equal to me. I release that I am a slave. I release all of the evidence that I have to prove that I am a slave. I release that I'm a slave to my job. That I'm a slave to my religion. That I'm a slave to people of authority. That I'm a slave to my spouse. That I'm a slave to my children. And here's the most important part. I release that I'm a slave to myself. I release all of the shackles, all of the perceived walls and ceilings that have had me feeling trapped. I release all of them. I release all of the trauma and drama around having felt trapped, imprisoned, and enslaved. I release all of the trauma from all my ancestors. I give it to God, I give it to the universe, I give it to the light. I'm willing for it to stop here. And I validate all of the feelings as I release them. But I'm not willing for my children to feel this way. And so I'm doing the work myself. I'm not willing for future generations to have this same battle within themselves. So I'm doing the work myself. I no longer am going to look for evidence of slavery or evidence of racism. I will, in the future, from now on and from now, in my view of the past, see all beings as the same race. And I will catch myself in great awareness if I see others or anyone else, especially myself, as any lower or higher than myself. I will see all beings at the same level as myself, capable of the same, aware of the same, loving the same, caring the same, worth the same, deserving of the same. I am free. I am someone who is free, and I know what that feels like. Download this template, even if you don't know what freedom feels like. Download this template from the divine. I am someone who is free. I create the possibility that I am someone who is free, and I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to see myself as free, to see myself as equal, no matter what the evidence tells me from the outside. I am free and I am equal. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done. Aho and amen. I love you. You're doing such a great job. And I know who you are. You're someone that wants real change. And because you just were so brave enough to change yourself, that will show up in your world. I promise. You're amazing. Mwah.